Hodie caput secundum ex libro meo do Latinitate ecclesiastica lecturus sum. Nouns. Possessive nouns singular and plural, in masculine, feminine, and neuter. In the previous chapter, we saw that nouns are spelled in a certain way when they were the subject of a sentence. In Latin, discipulus ancilla donum in the singular, discipuli ancillae dona in the plural. We also learned that as a direct object, they take slightly different endings. Discipulum ancillam donum in the singular, discipulos ancillas dona in the plural. Latin also has different endings when the noun is put into a possessive relationship with another noun. We typically call this the possessive. We might say the gift of the student or the student's gift in English. In Latin, instead of using of or s, we added I, ae, I in the singular or aurum, arum, aurum in the plural. The name of this form of the word in Latin grammar is called genitive. Genitivus, for example. Singular possessive, genitive. Es donum discipuli. It is a gift of the student. Es domum ancillae. It is a gift of the maid servant. Es canticum coeli. It is the song of heaven. Plural possessive, genitive. Sunt dona discipulorum. They are the gifts of the student. Sunt dona ancillarum. They are the gifts of the maid servants. Sunt cantica coelorum. They are the songs of heaven. If you have learned a language with endings in the past, you might want to see a chart of all the endings of the words we are learning. You can skip ahead to chart. Okay, well, that's just a note. In general, when you recognize that a noun has the possessive or genitive, genitivus, ending, it is best to translate it as of plus the meaning of the stem, or is possessive, that is. So far, we have seen nouns in the first declension, usually feminine, for the nominative ancilla, for example, handmaid, plural ancillae, handmaids. Genitive ancillae, of the handmaid, ancillarum, of the handmaids. Dative, in the accusative, ancillam, handmaid, ancillas, handmaids. In the ablative, covered later on. All nouns, second declension, masculine. In the nominative, discipulus, student, discipuli, students. Genitive, discipuli, of the student, discipulorum, of the students. And in the dative, the accusative is discipulum, student, and discipulos, students. And the ablative covered later on. In the second declension, neuter, the nominative is donum, gift, dona, plural, gifts. The genitive, doni, of the gift, donorum, of the gifts. The accusative, donum, gift, dona, gifts. And the ablative covered later on. Relative pronouns, nominative and genitive. When learning a new language, One must learn not only new vocabulary words and endings, but patterns of connecting sentences and larger thoughts. Contemporary English favors shorter, punchier sentences rather than longer connected compound sentences. Latin prefers longer, convoluted, and compound sentences, sometimes lasting an entire page or even longer. One of several ways Latin connects clauses is by relative pronouns. Think of the sentence, the man who is the teacher walks. The relative clause who is the teacher gives more information about the man. It answers the question, which man? Latin does the same thing, but the relative pronoun has gender, number, and case, like a regular noun. A relative pronoun, pronomen, pronomen relativum, is just a noun that stands in the place of pro, a noun, and relates it to more information. For example, discipulus qui est in ecclesia ambulat. The student who is in the church walks. Ancilla quae est in ecclesia ambulat. The maidservant who is in the church walks. Donum quod est poculum cadit. The gift, which is a cup, falls. Slightly harder to follow from Latin to English in the possessive genitivus form of these relative pronouns. Take, for example, the sentence, the student whose father is in Rome walks. The phrase that begins with whose tells you a bit more about the student, but in this case, it does so by relating the subject to another noun. What is the relationship between the student and the father? It is the father of the student. As you might recall from above, the standard way to translate a possessive is using of. The father of the student. The word cuius relates the subject of the sentence to another noun in the relative clause and can be translated as whose. Discipulus cuius magister audit ambulat. The student whose teacher listens walks. Discipula cuius magister audit ambulat. The student whose teacher listens walks. Donum cuius faba audit cadit. The teacher whose maker listens falls. The last example is a good place to see if we are understanding the use of whose. You should ask yourself, what falls? Is it the gift or the maker? The kind of thinking we take for granted in our native tongue, but we become aware of, but we become more aware of it when learning a second language. The answer is the gift. The gift falls. The relative clause whose maker is in Rome only tells us more about the gift. This kind of reasoning and understanding of how a sentence is constructed will be critical to truly being able to read Latin as Latin. So, another table. Who, whose, yeah, who and whose actually. So, in the nominative, masculine, qui, who, in the feminine, quae, who, and in the neuter, quod, what. In the genitive, cuius, whose, masculine, feminine, cuius, whose, and neuter, cuius, of which. In the plural, in the masculine, nominative, qui, who, the feminine, quae, who, and the neuter, quae, what. In the genitive, quorum, whose, masculine, quorum, feminine, whose, and neuter, quorum, of which. Adjectives. An introduction. Our final bit of grammar for this chapter is a brief introduction to adjectives. Adjective, adjectiva. Adjectives give more information about a noun. The tall boy, the small girl, a big gift, etc. In English, adjectives tend to come before the noun, but as in other languages derived from Latin, the adjective can come before or after a noun, usually after. Thus, the tall boy, the girl small, and the gift big could be the order of the words in Latin. Just like nouns have gender, number, and case, so do adjectives. In English, we don't really have agreement between nouns and adjectives. There is no plural form of adjectives in English. So, it is going to feel unnatural at first, but it will make sense over time. Singular. Dominus Justus, just Lord. Ancilla beata est, the maidservant is blessed. Donum magnum est, big gift, plural. Domini justi sunt, the Lords are just. Ancillae beatae sunt, the maidservants are blessed. Bona magna sunt, the gifts are big. Notice that the endings of the adjectives match the nouns in these examples. Discipuli alti, dona magna, etc. More endings will come as we progress in the language. It is critical that you start remembering this phrase now. Adjectives agree with nouns in gender, number, and case, not always declension. This will make more sense later when we move into other declensions. Adjectives can have any a noun has. Adjectives can have any a noun has. I don't get that. Can have any a noun has. For example, donum discipuli justi magnum est. The gift of the just student is big. Dona ancillarum beatarum magna sunt. The gifts of the blessed maid servants students are big. Dona ancillarum beatarum magna sunt. Dona ancillarum beatarum magna sunt. I don't get where the word students is here. I don't see this clearly. It's a bit confusing to me. Donna, gifts. Ancillarum, all the maidservants. Beatarum, all the blessed. Magna sunt. It's strange. Where is I also didn't get what this sentence meant. Adjectives can have any a noun has. What does this mean? Papa non magnus est. The Pope is not big. Notice that Papa is masculine, singular, and nominative, although it has an A ending. But the adjective has an US. Technically, the adjective and the noun are both masculine, singular, and nominative, though they don't look like they agree. Ancilla beata magistrum justus audit. A small maid servant listens to the tall teacher. Sententiae summariae. Servus viu domini est. Est magister discipulorum. Ancilla justa quae quoque manducat laudat. Discipulus verus qui est bonus audit. Servi quorum dominus bonus est laudant. Ancillae quorum domina bona est audiunt. Translations. The servant is a man of the Lord. That's Seus vir domini est. Est magister discipulorum. He is the teacher of the students. Ancilla justa quae quoque manducat laudat. The just maidservant who also eats praises. Discipulus verus qui est bonus audit. The true student who is good listens. True student who is good hears, yeah? Okay. Servi quorum dominus bonus est laudant. The servants whose Lord is good praise. Ancillae quorum domina bona est audiunt. The maidservants whose lady is good listen. Cauete et mementote. The I ending can either be the genitive singular masculine or the nominative plural masculine. You will know by context and whether it is paired with another noun. Adjectives are paired with nouns, and they match those nouns in gender, number, and case, but not declension or pattern. So they will often have the same letters at the end, but not always. Declensions are patterns of endings into which nouns fall. That is, there are 5 general patterns of nouns and their endings. We have been looking at the first two, A, AE, and US, I or UM. I, for now, we think of feminine words as having an A or AE ending that matches the first declension. We think of masculine and neuter words as having an US or USI or UM or I ending, which is the second declension. It will become more complicated when we learn a few exceptions. Vocabula memoranda, nomina, auxilium, help, Christus, anointed one, often translated simply as Christ, misericordia, mercy, papa, papae, pope. Notice this is an A noun that is masculine. Servus, servant. Via, or viae, way or road, way, let's say. Vita, life. Adjectiva, aeternus, eternal. Beatus, happy or blessed. Justus, just. Magnus, great or large. Multus, many. Plenus, full. Verus, true or real. Varpa, A verbs. Ambulo, ambulare, ambulavi, ambulatus, walk. Ambulat, he, she, or it walks. Ambulant, they walk. E-verbs. Gaudeo, gaudere, gavistus, sum, rejoice. Gaudet, he, she, or it rejoices. Gaudent, they rejoice. Maneo, manere, mansi, mansus, remain. Manet, he, she, or it remains. Manent, they remain. Sedeo, sit. Sedet, he, she, or it sits. Sedent, they sit. Timeo, timer, timu, fear. Timet, he, she, or it fears. Timent, they fear. I or e verbs. Dicho, dicere, dixi, dictus, say. Dicit, he, she, or it says. Dicunt, they say. Intellego, intellegere. Intellexi, intellexus, to understand. Intellegit, he, she, or it understands. Intellegunt, they understand. Interrogativa, cujus, whose. Num, surely not. This introduces a question, expecting a negative answer. For instance, you don't like fish, do you? So surely you don't like fish. The suffix ne, used at the end of a word at the beginning of a sentence, which usually makes the sentence a question. Qualis, what sort, what kind. Conjunctium, que, and added at the end of another word. Pronomina, cui, quae, quod, who, which. Cujus, whose. Interjectio, ecce, behold. Fabula, parua. Latina ficta. Deus via non est. Deus femina non est. Deus dominus virorum est, et Deus dominus feminarum est. Deus justus est. Via et femina, Adam et Eva, non ambulant in via Domini. Deus imperat et non audiunt. Manducant malum ligni boni et mali. Argo, via non est justus, neque femina est justa. Via et femina non sunt justi. Dominus est Deus misericordiae, et plenus misericordiae. Auxilium Dei venit in terra. Deus angelos mitit. Angeli volant, sed viri feminaque ambulant, non volant. Angeli propre Maria sunt. Maria timet. Angeli diciunt. Maria, tu eris cum puero. Maria dicit, ancilla Dei sum. Beata Maria est. Maria in via Domini ambulat, sed non Eva ambulat in via Domini. magna est misericordia Domini. Malum, fruit. Meet, sends. In, or in. Translate the noun that follows with just the gloss. Cum, with. To eris, you will be. Sum, I am. Heoa, if. Estne Deus vir? No. Qualis est Deus? Quis est Deus? Num viri feminaque volant, cujus ancilla est Maria. Answers from the above, but I'll go over them for now. Sententia interpretander. Saul Christus Domini est. Eiustae est verae sunt viae tuae. Tui sunt caeli, et tua est terra. Tuus tua tum yours. Multae sunt insidiae dolosi. Insidiae traps. Dolosus, the crafty one, the devil. Beata gens cuius dominus est Deus eius. Gens, gentis, the people, nation. Eius is, can be implied. Et dicit qui sedet in throno. In. Thronus, throni, throne. Est verus Deus, et vita aeterna. Beatus vir, qui sperat, hopes. Misericordia Domini plena est terra. Intelleit quod audit. Magnum est poenitentia auxilium, magnum solatium, comfort. Poenitentia, penitence. Filius tus vivit, lives, stays, resides, that is. Ecce ancilla Domini. Sententia fictae, further vocabulary and grammar review with author-created sentences. Via vera plena misericordia est, beati qui Christum timed. The way of truth has many mercies. Blessed are those who fear Christ. Multi qui sunt beati vincunt, laudant et gaudent. Many who are blessed vincunt, something, praise and rejoice. Servus huius Dominus est Christus non timet sed vicit. Servants whose master is Christ are not afraid but celebrate. Vincent is what? Wins, okay. Ancillae Eustae, quarum domina est Maria intellegiunt. The just maidservants whose master is Maria are intellegiunt is not intelligent. It doesn't translate that loosely. Understand, they understand. Viri justi feminaque Iustae, qui ambulant Christum laudant, servus et ancilla quorum Dominus bonus est Dominum laudant. Servus et ancilla Dominum tement. Dominus non justus est, cuius auxilium beatum et aeternum est, auxilium Christi beatum et aeternum est. Qui sedent, servi Dominorum sedent, cuius vita bona et aeterna est. Vita ancillarum Dei est beata. Gracias.